KROQ FM 106.7, and Daniel Ash, kind of busy around here at KROQ, huh?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Sort of
more busy than last time I was here.
A whirlwind of activity. Well, it's good to see you again. I haven't actually talked to you for about 3 years or something. You've had a very active career, and for those people who don't know, Daniel Ash is, could you say he's the lead singer of Love and Rockets?
No, not really. It's me, David and myself. The vocals. There's just 3 of us in the group anyway.
Love and Rockets. We've been playing Kundalini Express quite a bit here on KROQ FM. And also we've been playing a song called Go from Tones on Tail. That was about 2 years ago. And there are several songs by a group called Bauhaus. They do a version of Third Uncle and Bela Lugosi's Dead, and lots of very popular songs. Daniel Ash has been in all 3 groups, and that's pretty, what is it? Distinction, impressive for me anyway, because all 3 groups have been very popular with our audience. Which was the most fun group to be in?
T-Rex.
You were in T-Rex?
No.
So you weren't in that group, but if you could have been around.
Yeah, what?
You like T-Rex, I take it.
Oh, yeah, that was just a joke.
Okay, well, that's fine, but I mean, it could be partially true, you know. Okay, you can just relax. This is only KROQ.
Yeah.
This is,
I'm quite relaxed.
You don't have to worry about these people.
I'm so relaxed, my arm is going to slip off the table.
Okay, so in town you've been doing, talking to a lot of radio stations and...
Yeah, we just came from New York yesterday. Did some interviews, 2 solid days of interviews, and this is the 3rd solid day of interviews today.
Boy, I bet it gets pretty tedious. I'm trying to think of what I can do to make it less like an interview for you. People tend to ask the same questions over and over, I guess.
They do, yeah.
And I think probably I could, if I were going to do you a favor, I would not ask those questions again. Is that
okay, then?
Correct?
That's great.
Okay. What sort of clothing did you wear when you were about 9 or 10 years old?
I really can't remember.
Was it a uniform by any chance?
I doubt it. No, not at 9 or 10.
What were your favorite...
Maybe it was a little sailor suit.
Picked out by you or someone else in your family?
No, it used to be my grandmother's.
I see. Did you still live with your grandmother, or...?
Well, that'd be a bit silly, wouldn't it?
You did have normal parents, right?
Do you really think that I live with my grandmother?
Well, if you didn't have parents, you might have to or something. But you did have parents?
No, I don't live with my grandmother.
No, I didn't mean now. I meant when you were 10 years old. Okay, because I can remember what I used to wear, and it was actually pretty silly. I had my hair extremely short. How did you have your hair when you were 10
I had my hair extremely short, and yes, and it was a little sailor suit. On Fridays, if I was a good boy.
Did you have
a... would let me wear it to school on Friday afternoon.
Did you have any favorite...
Short trousers, little white ankle socks.
Shoes?
Sandals. Yeah, a little hat as well.
Let's see, where was this?
In England.
Northampton?
Yeah.
Did you have a stereo or a record player when you were there?
I had one of those that you wind up. A clockwork record player. And I had one record, The Ugly Duckling.
Is that a story or a song?
No, The Ugly Duckling, you know, the famous song. There once was an ugly duckling, etc.
Oh,
I remember?
Yeah, I do. It was sort of a nursery rhyme type.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Just one record to play on?
Yeah, for about 4 years. It didn't actually, because I quite like that record.
You must have been listening to it a little bit before age 10, I suspect.
Yeah, I probably was thinking about it. It's probably when I was more like 5 or 6, I suppose.
What sort of trouble?
When I was age 10, I really can't remember. I was probably listening to the Beatles. Maybe I wasn't. Let me work that out. Age 10. Yeah, maybe.
This is KROQ.
My older brother would have been listening to the Beatles.
Oh, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Two. One older, one younger.
Okay. We're talking to Daniel Ash from Love and Rockets on KROQ FM. People want to know when you're going to be playing. You're starting a Canadian tour.
We're playing here in
December.
But I couldn't give you the date. I don't know it offhand.
You're starting a North American tour this Saturday in Seattle, correct?
Yes.
And then a U.S. tour on November 6th in Boston, I have to remember.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, so North America is going to get introduced to this very group. The name of the album is Express.
Yep.
On KROQ FM. KROQ FM, LA's and Orange County's radio leader at FM 106.7. The Rock, we're going to go right into music. I just wanted to tell you something, that the interview's going to get livened up a bit because Street is in the studio.
Yes, I'm here right here.
And we managed to hear the Thompson Twins and Original Sin in Excess on KROQ FM. And before that, let's see, we played It Could Be Sunshine from the Express album by Love and Rockets. Our in-studio guests are Daniel Ash from Love and Rockets and Dusty Street.
Hello.
Dangerous Dusty Street. We'll be right back and talk to them both. You can get 6.7 KROQ, our in-studio guest, Daniel Ash from Love and Rockets, and also their biggest fan in Southern California, Dangerous Dusty Street.
Yeah.
Step right up to the microphone. Don't be shy.
I'm not shy at all. All I can say is that I'm very glad that I don't have to run out and get a large can of Aquanet this time. He brought his own hairspray.
Doesn't he use Moose?
Yeah, but the antlers always kept poking him in the ears.
Okay, I want you to talk about what you were talking about. And I said, don't talk about that now. I want you to say it on the air here.
Well, on the album Express, it took me a little while to realize that there are two tunes of the same record, which is called All in My Mind. And they're
the same lyrics, you mean?
It is the same lyrics, but entirely different styles of music. And the tune is absolutely marvelous, but one of them is very up and poppy, and the other one is a lot like, it's similar to a tune you did before, which was called Haunted. And I was wondering, one is called All in My Mind Acoustic, and then All in My Mind Pop. And I was wondering exactly why you decided to do this tune twice, and in such different ways.
Well, the original idea for it was the slow version. Am I closer to the mic? No, I'm not. Can you hear me, Spider?
I'll just sit in the back of it and I'll be able to hear you.
Okay, is that all right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right. I will carry on then. The original idea was to do the slow version, but then we thought it would be, because of the way the words were, the verses and the chorus, we decided to speed it up for the pop version because we desperately needed something that would happen as far as a single is concerned. So originally the idea was to make it a single, but after we recorded the pop version, myself, it didn't feel the true sentiment of the song. It was only one half of it, because originally it was a very sad song. So it's sort of like a
it is a
tragic
very sad
sort
song.
of love song, really. And so the pop version didn't really capture the whole mood of that track. So at the last minute, we went back into the studio to record the acoustic version, and by accident, the chords sort of changed to a degree from the original ones anyway, because at first it was just a matter of speeding it up and making it more poppy, but we went in again, and we had a certain sound in the cans. I mean, he put a lot of echo on the guitar, and it was very atmospheric, so it inspired us to write the second version, which was the true sentiment of the song. So that's the answer, really.
The other thing, too, you did...
Well, wait, why don't we play the song?
Oh, have you got it up?
I've got it right here.
Which version do you have up?
The one on the album.
There's two on the album that we're both talking about.
But the one they're going to release is the single.
Okay, that's the pop version.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then perhaps what you could do is also play the slow version, because it is, like I say, almost two entirely different songs.
Yeah, we play them both.
Why don't you?
Okay, I tell
that
you
way
what.
people can tell what we're talking about.
We'll play the pop version right now, and then we'll come back and play the acoustic version. And what were you about to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nothing.
No, I was just about to say that's a great idea, because it should be released as a single within a couple of weeks anyway, so it'd be nice if people could hear it.
KROQ FM, the pop version of All in My Mind. Okay, this is the Rock KROQ FM, Pasadena, Los Angeles. Chad the Fish and Dusty Street here with you on the Rock with our in-studio guest, Daniel Ash from Love and Rockets. And we just heard, actually I played both versions of All in My Mind.
And did it lovely.
Thank you, lovely.
Lovely.
We started with what we were sort of calling the pop version of All in My Mind, and finished with what's referred to as the acoustic version. And they're both really good. Now, they are releasing the pop version as the single. Is that correct, Daniel?
Yes, they are, yeah. It should be in a week or so.
I'd be curious to find out if they're going to release the pop version on one side and the acoustic on the other.
That's exactly what they're doing. It's just released on a 12-inch as far as I know.
Because, you know, it reminds me of when you were talking last time about, what was it, Haunted, or in 60 Seconds, about how it was written in two parts, how that tune was written in two different levels.
Haunted was?
Yeah, Haunted was written as, what was it?
Well, it was
yes,
David wrote
the
first half,
and you wrote the second half.
That's right, yeah.
And so it got put together as two tunes. I was wondering if there was any of those kind of similarities in any other tunes on the new album.
Yes, the first track on side one, Sunshine.
It could be Sunshine.
Yeah, that is, again, 2 tracks.
Now, this is a very interesting concept when two people write a song totally separate from one another, then come into the studio and you make it into one. Tell me a little bit about how that works, because it's still confusing in my mind.
I would have asked that question myself. It's quite good.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a case of just having an idea, and you can tie it in. As a sort of just
that's
like
the trick. That's what I'm wondering about, is how do... is it you and Daniel, or you and Kevin and Daniel that get together musically, because you're talking about the similarities or the continuity in
You and Kevin
idea.
and David.
And David, yes.
Yeah.
You and Kevin and David, sorry. And I was wondering how you get that together musically so it works.
Well, with those 2 tracks in particular, it was just a case of actually the tuning and everything is completely different. I mean, the chords are totally different from one side to the other. So on the bridge section between the first half and the second, we stick in a couple of other chords that work with both sections.
A diversion tactic.
So one will flow into the other one.
It's actually pretty rare that you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I mean, we've just tried that out twice and it's worked. It's just a matter of working it out in the rehearsal room, just like writing a song in the first place anyway, so it's...
Well, you guys have been together for such a long time. I mean, from Bauhaus, and maybe a little bit of separation on the Tones on Tail days, but, you know, don't you think that longevity in terms of creative like minds probably lends itself to the ability?
To do that?
To a degree. I mean, it's more a case of just having the same sort of musical taste, really. I mean, with Glenn, I had a few problems. I mean, because he was leaning towards one area, and I wanted to go in another area. He doesn't like sort of slow, sentimental songs, whereas I'm a bit of a sucker for that sort of thing sometimes, you know.
I think Dusty brought up a good point.
Yeah.
Lots of times groups get together to co-write, and someone will start a song, they'll come up with the chords and the actual musical part, and it will need something else, and to actually start a song and turn it over to someone else is kind of a lazy-ass thing to do, you know, and not many people can actually finish an idea that's been started by someone else. Is that true?
No, not at all.
So you guys can do that. It must be much easier for you to write songs as a result of that.
They seem to be able to write them separately and then put them together in the studio.
Well, yeah, but that's only 2 examples. I mean, it's only 2 tracks that we've actually done that. Most of the time, one of us will just come to the rehearsal room with the finished lyric and a melody on a guitar, and then give it, you know, offer it to the group, and then take it from there and write the drum lines and the bass lines and the guitar lines.
Okay. Dusty, you want to give him one more question?
One more quick question. The very first single that was out from Love and Rockets was Ball of Confusion. It didn't appear on the first Love and Rockets album, although it did on the CD, and now it appears on the second album, Express. I was wondering what constitutes the longevity of this tune. Was it your decision, or was it someone else's
partly.
decision?
I mean, we were asked if we could put it on, if they big time asked us if we could put it on this album. And we hadn't really thought about that, but thinking of how direct the album is, Express, in comparison with the first album, it's in essence, it's a rock and roll album, and that track fits in really well with it. And also, it wasn't commercially released as a single here. So it was nice, the idea of a lot of people being able to hear that track, because we worked a long time on that.
Some people missed it.
Yeah, it's
Lots of people missed it.
Yeah, well,
Me included.
That's part of the reason why we wanted it on. You know?
I just was wondering, have you ever heard any comment from anyone in the Temptations about your version?
No, nothing at all. I mean, it's funny because the week that it was released in England, the very original, the Temptations version was also re-released in England the same week. But it didn't do us much good. It was still ignored in England, you know, but there you go.
Hey.
Okay, I'd like to thank Daniel Ash from Love and Rockets for coming by to talk about the new album Express, and also Kundalini Express was just released as a 12-inch over here, is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, and they are coming back in 2 months to play live. Were you at the Susie show at the Palladium?
I was at both shows. I mean, I've never missed a Love and Rocket show. I must admit, I'm a real fan.
All right, so we'll be ready for that in a couple of months. This is KROQ.